I have always known just how gutless you creatures are. What will you show me next? Come now, entertain me.
What Aline did was unfair to you most of all.
Buster! Papa also said, hold on to each other.
The struggle is all that you are permitted.
Perhaps that's the outcome we both desire.
Accept it.
See things as they are, not how you want them to be.
If it wasn't for you, my Mio would still be with me.
I wanted to know the meaning behind the smile. There shouldn't be any life in those bodies. But the moats still rose.
Buster, stop! You can't just decide this for everyone!
We're all hypocrites, doing the same thing to each other.
Could you slay the ones who advance relentlessly toward despair?
What about Lune and Ciel and Minoko?
I didn't want to lose any more.
What do you mean anymore?
There is no room for hope in this world.
Everything we held dear is gone! You took them all away! And you dare talk about your feelings of loss!
Ciel was right. Grief blinds us.
Knowing when to be close and when to let go, seeing things as they are, not how you want them to be. Aionios, humanity's last-ditch effort for an eternal existence to cheat death, fearing it that much. Lumiere, the Descendre's last-ditch effort to keep Verso alive, refusing to accept his death. The city people and their lives are on the line. Noah, our protagonist, is giving everyone the freedom to choose, but doing so by risking non-existence, by risking death for all of them, accepting the sacrifice and the uncertainty of this canvas. This canvas and the people in it are on the line. Verso, our protagonist, is saving his sister Alicia not once, but twice, let alone Aline, his mother. For the sake of the living, we need to part with the dead. The world doesn't just vanish because you close your eyes. Looking back at the 2 years of gaming, there are 2 JRPGs that personally struck a chord with me. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Clair Obscur Expedition 33, exploring how dangerous love can be. How it can be weaponized and bastardized without realizing. Some wars happen in the name of love. Under the guise of protection and loss, we're delaying the inevitable, not realizing how letting go is the other half of being close. Especially in a world that is cruel at worst and indifferent at best. A world without pain and suffering. A world in our control is alluring precisely for this reason. It is more predictable and less variable to account for, easier to be happy, to make others happy. Just repaint Gustave and Sophie. Force Verso to smile as he gets older. Just revive Mio and force her to embody this world as Moebius. She might hate you for it, but she's alive to do so. In either scenario, your happiness now rests on others' suffering. Soldiers in Aionios and Verso's soul in the canvas. By relying on the world to sedate your pain, you're effectively relinquishing all control, all responsibility, closing your eyes to the world. Because whether you like it or not, Alicia's life is not just her own. She's a gifted paintress who will live on to paint thousands more lives just like this one, if you allow her to live, that is. Do you think this is what Verso wanted for his sister? Losing herself in the canvas will only result in her real heart flatlining in her bedroom in real life in a few years, making his sacrifice meaningless. Renoir will jump into the canvas once again to end this once and for all, so that Aline can be safe from its allure. They now lost both their children, which is why Verso made the hard decision his father couldn't, so that it doesn't come to that. This was his painting. As the developer said, the art and the artist's relationship rests at the fabric of the story. The theme of the game is about the relationship of the artist with his art. He says this twice, showing that this point was really given a lot of thought. Now ask yourself this question: how can a game that simultaneously explores the themes of grief also has this at its core? How does this art and the artist's relationship can explain the game in any fundamental way, to the point where the director accidentally refuses the grief angle of the story, which is flat out impossible to deny? This is integral to the story. This canvas is Verso's art. Alicia says, "Those who know not that they're not," something that Clea would probably agree with. The kid Verso says, quote, "Painting or not, she had feelings and a soul. That's what I think, at least, but I know she thinks differently. For me, everything in this canvas is as much alive as what is outside. Esquire, the gesturals, the grandies, even Aline's paintings. I welcome them all. Painting should be a celebration." Now, I want you to listen to this.
Your father was right to erase everyone. It's better this way.
Better for who? Verso would never have wanted his canvas gone. He loved Esquire and his gesturals and grandes.
It was killing our mother. Staying here so long in a make-believe world with her make-believe family.
It's not make-believe. It's not. You're not to me.
See things as they are, not how you want them to be.
What?
And Clea backs him up. Good, it is time. Don't let yourself get caught up in other people's drama. Trapped in Aline's delusion, Aline would rather lose herself in make-believe than face reality. It is a drug that she's unwilling to resist. Don't make the same mistake. I can almost hear someone else speaking, don't you think? You are tired, aren't you? And he nods to say yes right after. Well, I'm tired too. Verso actually understands Verso because they are the same, essentially. As Renoir said, one of Aline's greatest creations indeed. He is being forced to paint just as he is forced to live. No wonder both Verso and Alicia were able to survive the Gamache. No wonder he was able to enter the heart of the canvas while others couldn't. When all is said and done, Maelle was no different than her mother. By forcing her kindness upon others, she tried to buy theirs in return.
Please, listen to me. Only you can do this. You can do this, please. Unpaint me. Unpaint me.
Stop saying that.
I don't want this
I just wanted to live this lifetime together. This lifetime that was stolen from us. Please.
find you. Find a reason to smile.
He who lives in between, behind his veil emotions swell, for a life forced to paint. This is the little guy. He who guards truth with lies is Verso, protecting his mother while lying to the expedition. The fact that these people are the same is a tragedy of this entire game. This is the art and the artist's relationship. He is guarding the truth by painting lies, so to speak. His corporeal flesh is down there, while his soul is up here. You smile in Lumiere right now, thanks to his pain. Your existence relies on someone else's suffering, so is that reality worth sustaining? Selfishly clinging to life despite knowing the truth. The kid Verso needs to accept things as they are and become one with his body. Hundreds of canvases were made by this family, and none of them are tired like Verso's for a reason. They are living peaceful lives for eternity. Why is this one any different? Because unlike him, their souls aren't yearning for death, for non-existence. Here's a question for you. You know what is harder than burying your friends? Burying yourself, knowingly, consciously, holding your hand and dying a second time, to separate the wheat from the chaff, reality from illusion. But that's precisely what a true artist does.
Art can be a window, and art can be a mirror. And great art is both. Son, you'll never be a true artist if there's always a mask between you and the viewer, especially when the viewer is you.
This mask can't hurt me because it is me.
I regret that it caused you so much pain. What Aline did was unfair to you most of all. I know it seems absurd to offer oblivion as recompense, but perhaps that's the outcome we both desire.
What? Verso! Papa also said, hold on to each other. Verso, stop! You can't just decide this for everyone!
We're all hypocrites, doing the same thing to each other.
What about Lune and Ciel and Monoko? What about Esquier?
Ciel was right. Grief blinds us.
People want so badly to know what is behind the mask. Great art is both window and mirror, whether it is your mask or theirs. We all need masks. We all need to conceal our intentions, but to what end? Are you doing it for yourself or for others? When you wear a mask for a long time, it eventually consumes you. It becomes you. This mask can't hurt you because it is you. This is Verso. And Cyrene is Aline's axon, filled with emphatic feelings of emotion and attachment, unable to process her son's death, stricken with grief, dancing the pain and sadness away, charming her foes. These are the parables of the Desandre family, a window to their souls, to their secrets and desires. Do the lives of the painting actually matter? Do they have free will? Do Gustave and Ciel and Monaco and Esquia have free will? On some level, yes. But on another level, they're just brushstrokes to mask Aline's pain.
Child, it will get better, I promise you. But this is not the way. Your friends speak truth. And it changes nothing. You can hate me. But that's a choice I must make.
What is real and what is imaginary might just be the question Verso needs to answer. She knew unconsciously the truth. She knew that her nature was inseparable from Verso's and all of their fates were already sealed. Unlike Lune, who was very angry and felt betrayed, Ciel had actual insight.
See things as they are, not how you want them to be.
I will miss you guys.
Lack of choice is enough to break a person. They struggle, suffer, clawing their way through endless fog. A world without choice, that's wrong. If death is a lie in this world, it deserves to end.
So you'd rather perish along with the world?
I just want to cut this world free from Moebius.
Whatever the consequences.
It's okay.
We take everything as it comes. And we're afforded so little.
Verso.
Still, no matter how slim a chance we might have, it's a chance. So if that's an option we can take, then I'll take it.
As I get older, I wonder, can you ever truly know someone else? Then again, how many truly know themselves? A lucky few, perhaps. Is it a blessing to understand your darkest nature, or a curse to which we turn a blind eye? We lie to ourselves all the time, don't we? About things we would rather not admit or confront. About ourselves, about each other. Then there are things we genuinely don't see. I have nothing but time these days to wonder what I missed, what might have changed things. What is it that I didn't see that I couldn't make myself see? When did she start pulling away? Aline and I, we used to understand each other. Both of us lived for the process of creation, more so than the product. Capturing the essence of an idea, half-formed, nebulous, teetering on the edge of existence, shaping it into being. But she's changed. She no longer cares for the act of painting, only what her paintings can achieve. And she will drive herself mad trying to paint what is unpaintable. In painting, there's an idea called verisimilitude, referring to realism on a canvas. How the artist paints true-to-life creations, not just mere abstractions. They know painting isn't about verisimilitude.
Remember them. Painting isn't about verisimilitude. It's about essence. Truth of who they are. Your father made the axles, right?
She who plays with wonder, he who guards truth with lies.
They're the essence of your mother and your brother.
Trying to create sentience is alluring. To bring back Verso for good. Who wouldn't want that? All parents would want that. But just like Renoir said, it will only drive herself mad trying to paint what is unpaintable. The definition of losing herself in the canvas. As writers would say, losing the plot. Essence is maybe all you can have. Ultimately, Maelle rejects the consequences of her morality. She appears to care for everyone, but it is an untenable position, as there is no way to save this canvas either way. By ending her life prematurely, she's also ending the countless lives and thousands of people she will never paint in the future. How is that fair? How is that being objective? No, by choosing Maelle's ending, you don't care about the majority. You don't care about the canvas. Stop lying to yourself. You do this for yourself. Because you loved Gustave, you loved Ciel, you loved Monaco. And Verso's telling you that they are not worth dying for. Do you think that this is easy for Verso? This is his canvas, yet he needed to erase it because you refused to leave even for 1 second. Why don't you? You can always come back. If you value life and the canvas, then Verso's ending values lives and the canvas worlds, plural. That is why it is commonly referred as the canon ending. It can be a bitter pill to swallow right now. You were lost in the illusion, just like all of them. We cried, we laughed, and felt connected to these people. They were our friends, much more than a painting on a canvas. We related to Maelle, Kid Verso, and Aline because we love them as well. But you don't get to play God, to refuse the existence of unborn canvas lives by shackling Maelle to this specific one. By ending her life here, you end theirs. All of your attempts to cover moral high ground over Verso's ending fails because of this reason. Whether you believe they're real or not ultimately changes nothing. You cannot save them in any ending. Verso is dead, the canvas is dead. Now what you will do. This is Expedition 33.
You've got this incredible power to paint. You'll never have to suffer a life you don't want. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
I can't help but wonder. Would I have been able to save you?
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is incredible, and if it does one thing better than Expedition 33 at its ending, is to force the issue on you. There are no ifs or buts, you gotta do it. Because in Expedition 33, smart people will push forth with the psychologist argument for a golden third ending, one-upping the developers. They will say how the Dissandras don't need to erase the canvas. All they need is to get their shit together. There's nothing some good old psychotherapy can't solve after all. They can learn to coexist with Verso's canvas without being lost in it. They don't need to erase anything and actually practice what they preach, leading to a happy ending for everyone. Right? I suggest that you take your sacrifice-averse Disney ending and make a kids' cartoon show instead, because people in real life are flawed. You cannot make everyone happy. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Life keeps forcing cruel choices. If there was a way to have the beer in the fridge and simultaneously refrain from drinking it, you better believe that the Dissandras would already do it, and Verso wouldn't have to pull the trigger on the canvas. In fact, precisely because your happy third ending can't happen, that Verso is making the decision no one else is making to save his sister a second time. This is the problem with not tightening the conflict well enough. If the player can find a third, better ending, they will. And if you can't give lore reasons to plug that hole, it will just weaken the stakes whether you like it or not. underneath the moral dilemma and the philosophical debate between Verso and Maelle, that third ending that never was is gonna chip away at your story. Which is why Xenoblade Chronicles 3 fixes this with the question, will you become a Moebius? After all, why shouldn't he? Noah wouldn't have to say goodbye to Maelle. A little bit more time together with the love of your life. Everyone would say yes. As Maelle said, what's the harm in just staying a little longer? But Origin, the engine of this world, runs using the flame of its soldiers. If you want to sustain it, then living to fight and fighting to live is non-negotiable. As Zed says, it is through consumption of life that this world persists.
It is through consumption of life that this world persists. Denying it is self-delusion. The only outcome, self-destruction. It is unequivocal fact, the imperative that is intrinsic to all living things.
If you want to delay the inevitable, then you'll have to become a Moebius. There are no ifs or buts, you gotta do it. You can't just spend decades in peace with Maelle and reboot at the last second to carve as much time as possible together. Xenoblade 3 circumvents this problem by forcing the issue on you, and many of the problems that Expedition 33 trips on, Xenoblade 3 does not. Either you will live knowing your happiness rests on another's suffering, or you'll take the plunge as Ouroboros and accept the uncertainty with, yes, potential death. Just like Verso, Noah is making a selfish decision for everyone else as he has no other option. Life actually does force cruel choices in Xenoblade 3. If death is a lie in this world, then it deserves to end.
There's no joy in a contrived death, Noah.
Contrived death, huh? At this point, I get him. Kind of, at least.
On that day, he shook my belief. Was I really content? Content with the path I'd chosen to follow? And then he chose for himself. His end would be by his design. I need to know. What was he thinking back then? And why now?
Sculpting your own world by your design, that is acceptance. That is amor fati. Will you weep, battered by grief, or howl, seething with rage? If you look at it from a high enough vantage point, it really all serves one purpose: to protect humanity.
Zed and the other Moebius, they wanted to protect the world too.
Can the darkness ever give birth to light? Zed is humanity's collective unconscious, after all. Origin's reboot was hijacked, fearing total oblivion, the aversion to non-existence. The Moebius is trying to protect humanity in their own twisted ways, while Ionios represents destruction on the micro scale, trading lives and accumulating flames. It represents protection on the macro one. As such, the world supposedly persists for eternity. We all have a bit of Moebius within. Zed is this unholy union of the two sides of Klaus. Zenza's arrogance meets the architect's regret. Beneath the tough act, I want you to see that fearful child.
The self is all that exists. As such, the The only cure for despair is total oblivion. That is the face of the world. I hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. This rotten world, I love it.
Perpetual destruction and recreation under the banner of protecting humanity. No wonder Alpha was so disappointed.
Makes no sense. Haven't we done enough? We could have just kept to ourselves. But we're still doing this. And now Kyra's dead. With or without Moebius, nothing will change. In the end, people always kill people. No red irises. Savages. They killed Kyra just to add on a measly few extra days.
Come on. That's worst case.
Matthew, show me already! This world of peace where nobody has to die. Make it come true. I'm barely holding on. You hear me?
After all, we all know how Moebius Z feels. After Klaus's death, Alpha became the spirit of the world with this palpable disdain for old and mortals. Fucking up as they always do. The proof was in the pudding after all. Look at this world. Shulk did this. In a world without a god, what could they do? This was the best humanity could do, and Alpha was disappointed. In Future Connected, we've seen his wrath and determination to end them, knowing the final outcome. He does not want the origin to be built. He doesn't want humanity to survive the collision. No wonder Zed feared it so much, because he knew too. By creating Ionios, Zed made sure humanity survived, as Alpha had no reason to rebuke when the city people weren't there. Moebius said literally saved your life. While Ionios is very unhealthy, you are breathing because of it right now. It is keeping you alive. Perpetuating the canvas despite knowing its days are numbered. Fighting against your son just to keep him alive, despite only having 33 years on the monolith. Moebius and Maelle might seem different, but they're the same. Humans never change. And the consequences of overextending yourself, refusing to let go, is a lot more than these dissonant violin sounds in the background. They're all fun and games. Because the annihilation events are chipping away at this reality right now, it will destroy us. Just as it will destroy Alicia and then this canvas. Closing your eyes to that, to what is inevitable, is precisely what these people are doing.
Do you truly want it thus, O ye voices? Then let me enunciate, emphatically so, the rules to which this world adheres, for the benefit of us all.
I refuse to lose my son.
That son was a stranger.
But you're not. You're not.
You lost me years ago, and I lost you.
So you leave us no choice. Tell me, how are you different from her in doing this?
I'm tired.
So trust me. We are your family.
Family is complicated.
saving you means losing you, then so be it.
We only need to incapacitate him.
We'll find a way to kill him. I don't understand what's happening. I feel like I never understood. I'm always missing something that everyone else just gets. Lumiere life never made sense, and I never fit, and now up here, when it was just starting to maybe feel good, and this happens, and...
And we are trying to open their eyes, fighting to prevent that, so that it doesn't come to that. These writers, Takahashi-san and Jennifer Swadberg, have a thing or three to say to them.
We learned that for many, there aren't any choices on the table at all. Because they were taken from them by a bunch of crusty old mutters.
The strength you talk about is all just smoke and mirrors. Real strength is different.
That's right. Knowing when to be close and when to let go. Walking together. Eventually choosing who you really are. That is strength. And that's the real battle here. To find that answer. The will to choose our actions moment to moment. And if you dare denounce that common right, we will defy you. To live in a future over which you lay no claim.
Now, the million-dollar question is, which game do I prefer when all is said and done? What you will take away from Expedition 33's story may not be what is real and imaginary, or seeing things as they are, accepting loss and moving on, but how the canvas lives being real and them being sacrificed for this selfish family. You can technically do that, but it's not going to take you very far, as you're hyper-focused on your attachment to Verso's canvas, to Gustave, Ciel, Monaco, Esquier, losing the forest from the trees by refusing to let go still. How many times has it been now? This is precisely what the game tells you not to do. There's no beating around the bush. The ending of Expedition 33 is extremely powerful, one of the strongest endings I've ever seen in a JRPG. But again, that assumes that you chose the ending, that assumes that you knew what you were doing, that assumes that you were following along the writers. Because I realized the final protagonist position would be erasing the canvas all the way back from Act 3 beginning. I knew Maelle needed to go back to her body, as she can't keep living in a make-believe world with her make-believe family. It just wasn't right. But I didn't know how this was going to be executed, since Renoir, the final antagonist of this entire game, is already arguing for it. As a writer, how are you going to flip the script on that? How are you going to convince Maelle to reconsider when she's so fired up and passionate about defending her friends in this canvas? Well, ladies and gentlemen, they did it. They did the impossible. Verso was the Renoir all along. The signs were all there, and the moment I've seen fight as Maelle or Verso option, I was floored. This was absolute peak cinema. I've seen the idea coming, but I still did not know how they were gonna execute it exactly. This is a JRPG where you don't fail at God and try to assert your free will. That originality by itself already deserves applause. And sometimes you can't teach this stuff. It is style. Some things you have it or you don't. This was Jennifer Swedberg's, the lead writer's, first game, and she already cooked a narrative masterpiece. She even fooled me by the end, thinking they were gonna pick the easy route with kicking Renoir out and living peacefully in Lumiere. And if that happened, I'm telling you, I don't think I would be making this video. I would be so disappointed. See, not just the ending, but the acting, cinematography, writing, the emotions, how the scenes move from one another, they're landing more consistently than Xenoblade Chronicles 3, so it is the better game. Right? Well, don't jump the gun too early, because Expedition 33, despite all the praise that I've given in this episode, is a very short game. And by very short game, I mean I've never played a shorter JRPG in my life. 25 hours including the Act 3 side quest. That's the length of the main story. And story is more than just a plot. Your world, side quests, character interactions, lore are all part of the story. Just because Expedition 33 aces the main story doesn't even mean it is flawless, because it is not. In fact, I have rushed through Expedition 33 straight up. Despite the strong opening, almost nothing is happening until Act 1 ending. That's when the game actually starts. The narrative is being mysterious on me for far too long, refusing to give me any answers because it actually can't afford to. The story doesn't have the legs for a 25-hour adventure, stretches itself too thin, and uses its mystery to keep your attention on it rather than providing variety and meaningful content. Ciel, Monoko, Luna, and Eskia do not have impact on the narrative whatsoever, even if you've seen all of their support conversations. I see their functions, but this story is about Maelle and Verso, period. Monoko and Eskia have been, in my eyes, unsuccessfully used as comedic relief. Unlike Riku and Manana, they intrude on the pacing and the main story so egregiously that Act 1 and Act 2 suffer for it. See, there is a reason why Xenoblade Chronicles 3 does not try to lighten the mood and tone constantly or use comedic relief, and even if it does use it, it can afford to because it's a 100 hours long adventure. In a 25-hour story, you have to protect the tone and the mood. You cannot sprinkle Monoko and Eskia. Monoko is headbutting something randomly and the party gets separated, which leads to 2 hours of gameplay. Eskia asks you to find his rock and talk to this guy in the back. Noko dies fighting Renoir, but I don't even know who this puppet is because I never connected with him. Honestly, who the fuck is Noko? The point is, I don't feel anything because the game failed to make me feel anything, and the tonal incongruency by adding the comedic touch is not something you can easily salvage for such a heavy story. All Monoko, Eskia, and Noko do is feeling like a filler episode in an anime, wasting my time when more meaningful content like hero quests in Xenoblade 3 could be introduced. The party members in general are weaker than Noah, Mio, Taion, Uni, Lance, and Sana. Not because they're badly written, far from it, but the story does not care about these people, period. You build no meaningful connections to the Gestrals or the inhabitants of this world, unlike the hero quest in Xenoblade 3, where each colony gives you a new character, gameplay, and a philosophical problem to resolve. Look, I'm not joking, Xenoblade 3 has the best side quest ever made in a JRPG, and it's not even close. The commanders, these are all people who are trying to survive in this harsh world, leading their tribes. Some of them resigned to their fates and the others are shaping theirs despite that. They're all trying to figure out how to live in this world with their own problems, and you're there to understand them, to meet them where they're at, to see if you can do anything for them. Now, while Xenoblade 3 has pacing issues in Chapter 6 and 7, they are nowhere near as egregious and omnipresent as Expedition 33. This game is an extremely front-loaded and back-loaded game, despite the short runtime, which makes it even less acceptable. Instead of giving me a 25-hour main story, reduce it to 17. Cut the fat and better believe the experience will be massively improved. Xenoblade 3 both has a side quest and the main story. You can do both and you need to do both. And maybe this is a hot take, but Expedition 33's combat was good, but not amazing. I wasn't blown away, not because I'm a bad player, far from it. I think I'm better when it comes to timing and parries, but I just don't find the trial and error, the repetitive movesets engaging. I don't feel compelled to just fight to make builds. I don't strategize like I do in other JRPGs because this is an action game in disguise. Like Sekiro, your parries are important, but that's kinda all you're doing. It's a rhythm game. Xenoblade 3, on the other hand, has various classes and strategies you can use to take down opponents. On hard mode, which is how I recommend you play, not using camp level ups, the game is challenging throughout. You definitely need to do some manual difficulty adjustments to not get too OP, but so should you in Expedition 33. I mean, have you seen some of these builds people have made? Trivializing the entire game. Now, for me, all I wanted to do in this game is running past all the normal enemies because there is no point in fighting them. Unless you learn the parry timings, you will die in 2-3 hits in a boss attack anyways. Levels are somewhat meaningless, so is the defense stat. And I'm not even including how linear the level design is, so much to the point where I just wanted to see the next cutscene so that the story can finally move forward. I can basically summarize my experience with that line. Ultimately, what attracted me to Expedition 33 is not the parry timings or the combat or even the bosses, which is enjoyable to a degree. It is the story, music, beautiful art style, and writing. That's why I continue to pick up the controller. Which, unfortunately, means that I find many aspects of Expedition 33 outside of those elements quite flawed. It really is an indie game, but the highs are so high that I have to give credit where it's due. This consistency of well-written characters, through line in the story, and ending complexity with the moral and philosophical dilemmas have not been achieved by any other modern JRPG. But that being said, still, it doesn't have the highest high. Sometimes consistent highs can be beaten by a single higher peak. Of course, everyone knows what I'm talking about, Xenoblade 3's Chapter 5. The ending of Chapter 5 hits me way harder than any of Expedition 33's plot twists, even the ending. Seeing En's flashbacks, Mio's homecoming, the unending pain that he had to endure, the sheer disappointment of it, of not being able to break free of Moebius' shackles. These moments were in a league of its own compared to seeing Gustav at the end of Act 1, for instance. Saying goodbye to the protagonist is not done often in stories because it is risky. What Sandfall Interactive did was very brave, but just because it does the unexpected doesn't mean it's perfect execution by any stretch of the imagination. In my eyes, the developers didn't give enough time for Gustav's character and sacrifice to feel as emotionally impactful as they intended. It was a very shocking moment, but not tears rolling from our eyes sort of shocking. It was unexpected, but not moving. But they did stick to it. They did not revive Gustav, which means these guys are interested in exploring uncharted territory. So despite stumbling here and there, I can give this decision some slack. Remember, the more you get attached, the more time you spend with a character, the harder it will hit when it actually does happen. In contrast, the darkest hour trope was aced by Takahashi-san. You felt the desperation to your bones. The struggle was meaningless, which is why I'm not hesitating when I say when all is said and done, looking at the writing, story, characters, party, world building, combat, side quests, the world design, the level design, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the better game. Still, I want to congratulate Sandfall Interactive for this extremely strong main story. Despite the pacing issues, the endings for Act 1, 2, and 3 were all incredible. They really punched above their weight and made someone like me, who's a harsh critic when it comes to stories, very satisfied. At the end of the day, Monolith Soft, Takahashi-san is still holding the torch.